Hi, everyone. I'm Alicia Nam, manager of go-to-market at Morning Brew Inc. And I'm so excited to be here with Panayotis Eliopoulos, senior recruiter at Workable, and Jack Anderson, U.S. team lead of account management at Workable. Panayotis is an experienced human resources professional with a demonstrated history of working in the technology and hospitality industry, talent acquisition, management, office administration, and payroll assistance. Panayotis, thank you so much for joining us today.
Alicia, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Great. And Jack has been at Workable going on 5 years. His experience includes sales, and now he stepped into more of a client-facing role. There, he leads a team of experienced point people for recruiters. Jack, welcome to the discussion.
Hi, Alicia. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, of course. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. So to set the stage for our discussion on AI in the recruitment space, can you explain to us where exactly you're seeing or want to see the tool embedded into the process? So for example, should it go beyond manual tasks like writing job descriptions? Panayotis, let's start with you, and then Jack, would love to hear your point of view.
Thank you, Alicia. AI should be embedded in the whole process of the recruitment. It should be there to assist the recruiter doing the job as a silent, let's say, helper. It's not. It's a tool that is built in the process, not bolted on, and you must see it there or jumping in front of you. It should be there to assist you do things like maybe help you sourcing CVs so you can do your job faster, give you an estimation of a CV if it's proper for that role, the screening, I mean, and it can give you a percentage of how close to the role this CV is. But at the end of the day, the recruiter should do take the last call. So it must be there in every aspect of the recruitment process to assist and do the process fast, of course. That's the reason we're using it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Jack, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, alongside with what Panayotis said, we see it as like a very specific, practical tool to, help people do their job. But at the end of the day, it's not doing their job for them. There's still like a human in the loop, making final decisions like throughout the process. So it's not as if, you're just pressing into some prompt that's like, give me a person to hire right now. Like, no, it's still like allowing you to do your job better, more efficiently, and actually doing the high value tasks that like a recruiter needs to do, connecting with people, evaluating fit, making hiring decisions instead of, the day-to-day monotony of just typing out things over and over, like, repetitive tasks.
Yeah, of course. And so pulling on that human thread a little bit, there are specific ethics considerations for AI in recruiting, right? So how can an organization establish trust with employees and applicants as AI is embedded into more recruiting and hiring software? And like, what are the parameters we're working with here? Panayotis?
Leading companies create ethical frameworks proactively. They don't expect and wait for a tool to come up and then start thinking about this. But now with AI, of course, there need to be regulations and transparency about using the AI. A leading company, a company that respects their candidates, will have transparency about their recruitment process. The candidates will know what happens, when happens, where the AI is working on, and where the human person is on, let's say. So it's based mostly on ethics and trust. And that's how we also build our system and follows up all the regulations worldwide, not in every place of the world, following different cultures, different requirements in these regions.
Yeah, transparency is very key. And on that note, Jack, I was hoping you could kind of explain what the difference is between recruiter-specific AI versus popular LLMs.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I will put my hands up and say that I was one of the ones who was a little hesitant at first about, the AI coming out and doing everything. I was like, this is too good to be true. And I've come around a good bit since then in my own like personal and professional life. And you can see that actually, there's lots of really good uses for it. But the way that the difference, comes up in recruiting and what we, practice on our side versus, the big AI, systems that like ChatGPT or Gemini or what have you, is kind of the context and control that you have in like a specific ATS, like Workable. Like those, ChatGPT and whatnot is wonderful, provided you give enough context to it, give it all the different like background information so that it can pull and put together more of a coherent kind of thesis of things. Whereas when AI is built into the recruiting process at multiple different levels throughout the process, it already has that context kind of built in. It's doing like specific things that it wants, that you need help with essentially in it. I like to think of it as like a Swiss Army knife that we've kind of built into the system. So there's the job description writer, the resume parser, resurfacing candidates based on the description of the job that you've already had like these warm leads in the system. Instead of, just a general conversational tool that, any of these other general purpose models are. It also has built-in privacy and security and compliance when it's already in the system like this. So you don't have to worry about like, oh, I'm uploading all these resumes into a system that I don't have, security clearance for to provide all this stuff to. When it's on, a native system like Workable is built, it's already, compliant. You don't have to worry about what you're feeding into it or anything like that and crossing any red lines.
No, that makes sense. And like we've sort of been talking about this whole time, it really sounds like at the end of the day, AI should exist as a support tool, not a replacement tool. So, how do you propose creating a culture of AI usage in the workplace while still remaining mindful of where it is a need to have versus a nice to have? Panayotis, I'm going to have you take this one.
Yes, of course. It's about my role, my job. AI, exactly. AI is not here to replace us, the recruiters, the HR teams. AI should be here to assist us in the process, to make everything faster. In the past, things were manually. We had to download CVs and send them to the hiring managers. Now everything is in an ATS. With a few clicks, you can do your job. That's assistance. The same thing goes also with the AI. It will be there to assist you in every part of the process that you are working on. So workable philosophy is to support the work, the process, and the AI never to make the final decision at the end of the day. It's really important always in things, in processes like recruitment that are crucial about the career, not the career only, the life of a person to be done by a person, not by a machine, a person that has feelings, has instincts, and understands things better than a machine. AI will be there to support in all this process the person. That's my opinion about that part.
Yeah. And on that note, let's explore Workable's modern applicant tracking system, or ATS, as an example. So, what AI and ethics considerations does Workable bring to the table? And what should HR leaders know when selecting or switching their ATS? Jack, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah. So, I mean, we've been in the recruiting space well over a decade now. The AI stuff isn't even necessarily new to us. It seems more like an evolution of some of the automations that have been in the system for a long time already, and just kind of making it a little bit more user friendly, if you will, on the front end. So we've been kind of in the weeds of it, if you will, for quite a while here now. So it's not like it's something new to us. At the same time, we've kind of still kept at the forefront of all the thinking that there still needs to be a human in the loop in the process. Like Panayotis was saying, we're not here to like fully replace with robots, recruiting or anything like that. We exclude protected attributes like gender, age, nationality, ethnicity, and whatnot from the AI by design. So it's still trying to keep things safe above the line, while making the day-to-day life of recruiters a whole lot easier, especially these days when I see in my conversations how many applicants are coming in for jobs, and I can only imagine what the load is like on a day-to-day basis of going through these. So really trying to at least lighten that load as much as possible and keep it still, human first at the beginning and end of the day, while also being compliant. So we've got all that built in, so you don't have to be sweating about, making sure that you're doing everything right on your side too.
Amazing. Well, this has been such an informative and insightful chat. Thank you both so much for joining me.
Thank you, Alicia.
Thank you very much.